The climate cerberus can break into your home at any moment. It is ruthless and comes without warning.
Annemin durumu iyi. Malatya'da
Mom is fine. We are on Ege Street, Alkanlar Residential Complex, the second floor in Malatya. The uncle's condition is bad. Everyone who is watching this, please come to help. Everyone, please come to help.
The power of the earthquake that occurred in Türkiye is comparable to the explosion of 130 atomic bombs. All the consequences and causes of this event are yet to be discovered. We want to remind you that on February 6, 2023, the underground shock with magnitude 7.8 shook the region in the southeast of Türkiye and the territory of Syria bordering it. The seismic event occurred in the early morning at a depth of nearly 18 kilometers near the city of Gaziantep. Just a few hours later, the rescue effort was interrupted by an equally strong second magnitude 7.5 earthquake. A total of 335 tremors followed the first earthquake, 29 of them greater than 5.0 magnitude. More than 11,000 people died under the rubble of collapsed buildings in both countries. The figures are being updated. Tens of thousands of people are injured. Entire districts in many cities and towns were turned into rubble. More than 6,000 apartment buildings were destroyed completely. A total of about 338,000 inhabitants have been affected by this natural disaster. This is the worst disaster in Türkiye in the last decades.
I was sleeping when my wife suddenly woke me up. The earthquake was very severe and very scary. We were hearing sounds from all over the place.
Two brothers and sisters under the rubble right now. I have a close friend who lives in this apartment. His children were rescued from the top floor. Only his daughter has a broken arm. We'll see what has happened to those who live on the first floors.
It's destroyed. Destroyed. Oh my God. Since morning, no one is here. Our relatives are dead. They are only 17 years old. The children of my sister-in-law are at the bottom.
I've been asking for a back house since the first day. I went down from the first floor. I asked to call a digger to save my brother. No one answered me. My brother died of blood loss.
I appeal to the authorities. 3 of our children are still alive. It's been 4 days already. Their cousins are with them, and they say they are alive. AFAD came, did nothing and left. Only volunteers work here. AFAD does nothing. Let them come and save my children. Whoever will come, let them come and save my children.
For Syria, worn out by civil war over the past decade, this earthquake has become an impossible ordeal. It completely wiped out the city of Haris, which was home to about 30,000 people.
Many buildings in different cities and villages in northwest Syria collapsed, destroyed by this earthquake. Our teams responded to all the sites and the buildings, and still now many families now are under the rubble. Our teams trying to save them, trying to save their people, to save all the people from under the rubble with all capabilities, but it's very difficult task for us. We need help. We need the international community to do something to help us, to support us. Northwest Syria now it's a disaster area. We need help from everyone to save our people.
Our children, our wives, our elders, they're all under the rubble. It's a big disaster. Our high-rise buildings are leveled to the ground, and even in 3 months, we won't be able to get all the dead out of there.
Thank God. Thank God. It broke me. I swear to Allah. No family, no relatives, nowhere to take shelter. Everything I did was for my family.
My family, my children, my son-in-law and his children are all still under the rubble. There is no one to get them out, no equipment, no capability. We hear cries of the survivors, but there is no equipment to get them out. Our request to all countries, to all humankind, come and help us to cope with this grief.
I personally lost 12 people, my closest loved ones. They are still under the rubble. I can't get them out. My mother, my brother, my second brother, also his 2 sons, my sister and her husband, their 4 children. My elder brother's other 2 children, thank God, are alive. I pulled them out myself.
Countries around the world are sending rescue teams and equipment to help the victims of the fateful earthquake that struck on February 6. We all understand that in such complex and difficult situations, people's support and unity are needed more than ever. At the same time, the question arises, was it possible to avoid the catastrophe? Why, living in a world of scientific technology, there are no reliable forecasting systems for evacuating the population in advance. Professor Carlo Donioli, head of the Italian National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology, noted that what we call the Arabian Plate has moved about 3 meters in a northeast-southwest direction relative to the Anatolian Plate, where Türkiye is located. It turns out that the geological shifting of the plates is what caused the earthquake. Besides that, underground shocks of varying magnitude that day were registered in other regions of the planet, in Italy, Indonesia, Chile, El Salvador, Panama, and also in the USA, where on February 6 the strongest earthquake in 40 years has shocked the western part of New York State. And a day earlier, on February 5, 2023, under the Mariana Trench, a mantle earthquake of magnitude 4.3 occurred at a depth of 540 kilometers. The cause of the earthquake was a strong gravitational explosion, which provoked the rise of a large amount of magma. So far, there is no answer to the question if this is related to the extreme earthquakes in Türkiye. This is the first major mantle earthquake below the Mariana Islands in February. And if you look at the chronology, this is what was talked about at the international online forum Global Crisis. Our Survival is in Unity on November 12, 2022. Scientists presented a scientific report on the climate and presented a mathematical model of the impending cataclysms, as well as information about the processes taking place in the bowels of the earth. The conclusion is that the earthquake in Türkiye, as well as others, were caused by these processes. The climate cerberus is advancing even more intensively, and today it is the only enemy of all humanity. It now depends on you and me, how quickly we can build the creative society and create the conditions for uniting all the scientists who can find a solution to deal with the cause of the growing cataclysms. For more information, watch the forum. In early February 2023, an ice storm hit the southern United States, taking at least 10 people's lives in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. The freezing rain and sleet-iced roads caused numerous accidents. More than 500,000 households were left without power. The bad weather led to the cancellation of more than 1,500 flights. The freezing rain did not last long, but the ice melted slowly, keeping trees and branches in danger of falling. In the capital of Texas, the city of Austin, the damage from the ice storm was compared to the effects of a tornado. Texans unaccustomed to severe cold were hit the hardest. For them, this is the second time in 3 years that February brings freezing temperatures and winds, leading to prolonged power outages. In 2021, hundreds of people in Texas didn't survive the cold weather, and the state's energy system was brought to the brink of total failure. According to the latest data, a cold front moving across the country will continue to bring harsh Arctic temperatures to the northern plains, Midwest, and Northeast U.S. Climate events are becoming increasingly unpredictable. What about in your region? Have you noticed anything unusual lately? Write about it in the comments.
It's terrible because my brother struggled for years, and then the fire came and destroyed everything.
The only thing we were able to do was to pour water on the house so that the fire wouldn't reach it and consume everything very quickly. But when we came to react, the fire was already above us and surrounded us. We were all surrounded by fire.
For more than a month now, forest fires have been burning in Chile. Very dry weather combined with strong winds and inaccessibility of mountainous areas contribute to the emergence of more and more fires. This time, the fire has become a national disaster. As of February 4, 2023, more than 150 fires have already been recorded across the country. The central provinces of Biobío and Yubel suffered the most from the fire disaster. At least 13 deaths are reported. Hundreds of families were left homeless and without anything at all. To escape the flames, people often fled from their homes, not even being able to carry basic necessities.
A few days ago, there was a fire outbreak in the surroundings. But last night, we had to stay awake because there was a fire outbreak here in front. And in the morning, around 5:30 or 6 in the morning, the fire came down from the hill, went down more to the front, and from there, in the morning, around 7:30 or 8 or so, it took this sector on the side of here.
We haven't seen anything like this since 2017. The fire is burning the houses of the neighbors. The neighbors are slowly removing their things, and the help arrives, but it seems that it's not enough. The only thing that you want is for water to arrive, for helicopter to arrive, for everyone to arrive, and we know that the same thing is happening everywhere.
The social media was also stirred by a video of underground fire bursting out of the ground in the middle of the road near the town of Kilian. There are several versions explaining the nature of this unusual spectacle. According to some scientists, underground organic matter, such as fallen leaves, woody debris, and tree roots combined with abnormal heat can contribute to the spread of fire underground. But the most likely cause of underground fires is seismotectonic degassing of the Earth. In seismically active zones, and Chile is located in such a zone, flammable gases rise to the surface through cracks and fractures in the Earth's crust. It's such a zone that forest fires are difficult to extinguish and last for a long time. The rapid intensification of degassing processes is one of the consequences of disturbances in the stability of the Earth's core. You can learn more about the processes occurring to our planet from the climate report, which has already been watched by millions of people around the world.